Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk Football with Dan and Jesse. Here Friday night, as always, competitive football has returned to England, thank God. Huddersfield versus Burnley, just getting up finished now. I've been very impressed with Burnley under Vincent Kompany. Look really, really good. The inaugural sort of every year kind of opener, the Community Shield, the Charity Shield, as it was always known to me, is tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Liverpool versus Manchester City. Looking forward to that one. 5 o'clock's your kickoff, 3 o'clock's your build-up, because they're making a big old deal of it this year for some reason. Going to be played at the King Power due to the women's football. Good luck to the ladies in the European Championships as well. So not at Wembley this year. The King Power was an interesting choice. Not so sure about that. But before we get kicked off, got a few other bits and pieces to discuss. Sir Alex Ferguson back in the board. No longer sort of a kind of honorary member, no power, just kind of, the voice, the being around the club, but he's now going to have a purposeful role at Manchester United. United fans, want to hear your views on that. Good, bad, indifferent, what do you think? And then we're going to have a little discussion when Anthony hopefully joins us, just as the Chelsea game is going to come up to be finished. Looking better against Udinese. You'd hope that they would, to be fair, because Udinese and Chelsea is a bit of a difference. But we're interested to see his thoughts. So before we get going, Jesse, how are you, my mate?
Great, man. You?
Yeah, really, really good. Just really happy to see, competitive football back on TV again. I mean, that's what I wanted to see. I was very impressed with Burnley. Looked really good. Huddersfield, I mean, if they had come up to the Premier League, they'd be in for a right shock. And let me tell you, that they're nowhere near the level. Nowhere near the level at all. Yeah,
Huddersfield are just one of those teams, kind of like Bournemouth. I know Bournemouth came up. I'm always concerned about them. Forget like your Norwich is a pretty big club within their own right. It's probably better that we got a team like Nottingham, just for viewers' sake.
Yeah, 100%. Just for the quality of viewing, you know what I mean? The difference is just massive. Burnley have bossed this game. Probably could have been 3 or 4-0 up, to be fair, from what I was looking at. So, just while we get going, the biggest friendly in football, kicks off tomorrow, 5 o'clock. I'm looking forward to it. I'm fussed if we don't win it. Not really. Do I want to win it? Yeah, I actually do want to win it because of who we're playing. We're playing Manchester City. That's like almost an important point, to be honest. That we're up against the rival. We're up against the at least performance rival as it stands right now. So for me, I'd like for us to win it. Not quite sure we're fully equipped to win it because of a few injuries that we've had. Alisson will not be playing. Adrian will be playing unless he decides to go for the 4th choice goalkeeper. Don't see that happening, to be honest. Diogo Jota is an absolute ruled out. We won't be seeing him until September, more than likely due to a hamstring injury. Oxlade-Chamberlain won't be there. Jesse, how do you view this game? What do you think about it?
I think no matter what people say, and I know that Klopp has kind of come out and said, well, it matters, but it doesn't matter. I think it does matter, in my opinion, just for the mentality of the team. Now, if you don't win it, I think you can go ahead and pull up the comments that Klopp had. It's not the end of the world, and you won't let it affect you here, but it definitely gives you an edge if you do win it. And I know for a fact Pep will be going into this game. His pre-match talk to his team will be very much, this is silverware. Now, it's not silverware we really care, like we need, but this is where you set the precedent for your season. And I think Klopp will have something similar as well. As far as the two teams go, this is probably the best way for the neutrals to kick off a Premier League season because it's exciting and both teams will go for it. They'll pull out of challenges, but you'll see a high level. So I think
100%. we all remember I actually went to the Community Shield back in 2019 when we actually lost this game on penalties. And Kyle Walker cleared it off the line. I had a perfect view. My view was straight down that line. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. He'd done that one. Walked away from the game. I don't know. I wasn't disappointed, like at all. It was a strange one. Like, oh, well, it was just nice to watch your team play. Do you know what I mean? That was what it was about. I saw my team play. They played well. It's kind of one for the fans, really. It raises money for charity, blah, blah, blah. It's a nice one for the fans. We kind of go, here we go. Premier League football is back and, let's get on with it kind of thing. And next day, obviously less than 6 days later, Premier League starts. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. And I, for one, am very much looking forward to that game.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go ahead and bring in Ant right now.
Is he there? Wonderful. Here he is. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Very, very good. Dan, how are you, Jesse?
Good.
Lot more to be happy about today then.
That's it. Yeah, apparently I've heard that you're looking much better. We're going to come on to Chelsea just in a little bit. We're just discussing the Community Shield. As a Chelsea fan, what's your view on the Community Shield when it comes to, are you bothered about it? Does it mean something? What's your view on it?
I absolutely love the Community Shield, and I'm not one of these people who just don't care about the Community Shield. It's a thing to win. It's the first trophy of the season. It also sometimes sets the pace towards the season, saying we mean business for some people, and I look at it as something that you need, like something that is there to be won, and you need to go on and do the business.
The last time we didn't win it, we went on to win the Premier League at a canter. So I'm all for losing it, to be honest with you, tomorrow. So yeah, if we get beat, I'm coming with that energy, I'm afraid.
No. It's just that I just think like the culture right now devalues so many things at this moment in time, and I just think that it shouldn't be devalued. It is still a game. You should look to win it, but if you don't win it, it's not a big deal. However, it's a trophy. It sets up well. It's a nice thing to win. It gives a little bit of a boost to the squad. I absolutely love the Community Shield. I love watching the Community Shield as well. I'm not one of these other guys. Like, no.
It is, and it'll be nice because both managers are going to approach it with probably their best 11s, maybe not for 90 full minutes, but they'll definitely be approaching it for at least 60 minutes, maybe 45. I think there's a few kind of conversations around Liverpool as to whether or not they're going to play kind of the old heads, the Liverpool team that you all recognise in the first half, and then maybe, after 60 minutes, bring on the new boys, Elliott, Nunez, maybe bring on Coutinho. I'm calling him Coutinho already, Carvalho. Bring these young boys in and just, because we've got 5 subs, just to give them an opportunity to be out there on the big stage, because now that pre-season's over, sometimes these players, their opportunities are going to be slim. We've got one game that they could possibly play, which is the Carabao Cup if they get a decent run. But that's the last game before the World Cup. So it'll be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to win it, definitely. But if we don't win it, I'm not going to be upset. It doesn't really matter that much, kind of thing. It's as long as we play well and, it's no one gets injured. That's how I feel.
That's the most important thing. Yeah, Jesse, I'm sorry.
I definitely think it sets a precedent, just like Anthony said. That's kind of what I was saying before you hopped in. I think it's important, and Pep is definitely going to go into this season saying we're going to win every piece of silverware we can. Just going to go through Twister's comments as well here. Community Shield should never be devalued. Problem is there's so many pieces of silverware that you can win in England at this point in time. I actually was looking through and I was like, when did we beat Southampton? Well, in the 2017 season, was it the Community Shield? And I was looking through, it was actually the League Cup. It just gets to a point where there's so many competitions and so many like smaller ones that this one, since it's preseason and no one really looks at it in that way. I mean, it is still number 1 versus number 2, or the FA Cup winner versus the league winner. I do think that there's something to it that can affect your mentality. And it sounds like I know that's going to be the case for Pep, but you kind of know the comments. You would have the comments more or less down that Klopp came in with during his presser, right?
Yeah, he said it matters if you win it, but not so much if you don't. Kind of like it's one of those things which you can take it or leave it. You'd be happy about it if you win it, but if you don't win it, don't be unhappy. If that makes sense. It's like if you win, brilliant, but if you don't win, then you can move on. Just on that last comment, community shield should never be devalued. It's funny how other fans point this finger now at Liverpool, because when Liverpool won the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, everyone devalued those trophies. But now apparently Liverpool have to face the Community Shield as if though it's a proper trophy. Like, so it's the way that it's being, kind of aimed at, is that if we need to not devalue the Community Shield, then the League Cup and the FA Cup are both incredible trophies, which, ultimately should, have massive respect on them. So for me, the Community Shield is it's an added little bonus. Do you know what I mean? It's like as long if we win it, we're here, happy days, but I'm not going to stick around to watch the extended highlights, shall we say.
No, but as I said, like for me, I value it no matter which team plays in it, whether it's Liverpool, Man City, whether it's Chelsea, whether it can be Crystal Palace, it can be Burnley, whoever it is. I just think it's a trophy to be won. It is the first trophy in the season. It's the same way I treated the Super Cup. I always value it because at the end of the day,
Super Cup's a lot bigger, Anthony. Though, come on.
No, I understand that. I do understand that, but I look at it in the same vein, in the same thing, saying that it is something to be won. It is an outing. You're playing at Wembley.
You're not
need to
playing at the King Power.
What?
No, it's not at Wembley, mate. That's why part of me feels like this is the FA devaluing it in themselves, because it's being played at the King Power Stadium in Leicester.
Oh, I didn't.
The reason is because of the Women's Euros. I totally understand. And but why the King Power Stadium? Why a stadium that doesn't even go above 50,000 seats?
Yeah,
there's plenty of stadiums that could have been used, that were not one that can only hold 38,000 seats. It's not good enough.
You could have played it in Old Trafford. Like, so many stadiums are there, isn't it?
Oh, you couldn't. We're not letting anyone win silverware at our stadium.
No, I mean, for me, you've got. I mean, there's other stadiums. There's Villa Park could have been used. You could have used St James's Park. We could have used the Millennium Stadium.
You just muted yourself.
Yeah, so that's what we could have gone and done. We could have, used those stadiums. So for me, that's the actual organisers kind of going, well, it's not that big of a deal, so we'll put it at a small stadium in the Premier League. That's the way I see it.
And you wonder why people devalue it.
Yep. No, totally. But I also think there's even what is it? Cardiff Stadium is massive, isn't it? The Millennium Stadium or whatever.
Well, it's not their stadium. They actually play next door to it. But yeah, of course, the Millennium Stadium in Wales could have been used, for whatever reason. But they chose not to. So it is where it is. It's going to be a different sort of event this year. But it kind of takes away a little bit more of the shine because it is part of it is the Wembley experience. I've experienced it, and going to Wembley, for whatever is a big occasion. But going to the Leicester Stadium's not exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I understand it.
It's perfect timing. Patrick, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you doing? I hope you're all well.
Yeah,
good,
man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just going over the preview for Liverpool versus City.
Yeah, I was watching it while I was there. I saw Dan was complaining about the same thing everybody's complaining about, which is actually a valid point. That why would you take the match and put it at Leicester City? Why don't you put it at why don't you put it at the Everton ground? Why don't you put it there or put it at Old Trafford?
Did you say Everton?
Yeah.
Bro.
You get my point. At least
you might as well play on the pub car park.
I'm just saying that, why is it Leicester City ground? Is it because they won it last season? Is that why? Maybe, I don't know.
It was funny because someone made that comment saying "Oh, that'd be great. This could you imagine if they put it at the FA Cup Winners' Stadium every year? Well, what if the FA Cup's won at Brentford? they're going to do the community shield in a 20,000 seat stadium. Like it doesn't work. It's not. It makes no sense. I think Leicester was just like a bit of a because you won it last year, shall we say? But it takes it away. If it's meant to be a big occasion, then it needs to be at a big stadium.
I have a mad theory about this. Leicester need money, so they loaned it out.
That's not actually that crazy of an idea because they desperately need the cash. Apparently, that their bonus structure has absolutely screwed them because they've had this massive bonus structure since they won the league. They've been paying out massive salaries to players and then not getting Champions League football. So they've actually come under a lot more financial pressure because they have these players like Vardy, Madison, Tillman, and all these players just missing out. Ndidi, and they're just not making the money back. So it's not that crazy, to be fair.
I just thought about it. Like I was just thinking to myself, I mean, maybe this is a way for them to make some money back. I don't know, but
it'd be a home game for the Etihad every year. That's what my worry would be. Pep would be having a game at the Etihad every year. So I don't know. Hopefully he'll be back at Wembley next season and whatnot, so we can see how it gets on next time round. But for me, we're going to have a bit of a weakened team anyway. Alisson's not playing, no Jota. It's going to be an X.
Quite a bit of players injured from Liverpool side of things, as far as I understand it as well, isn't it? Like, how are you feeling about it, Patrick? Oh,
no, I just got it. Yeah, got it up. 1 second. Okay. Hey, Patrick.
Yeah, what's up? I was just putting my both of the headphones on because So was Dan already making excuses that they're going to have a weak team?
Yeah, he was. He actually, that's exactly kind of where we're headed. Is
I'm going to get them in. There's no excuses. It's just true.
He's back. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Who's on goal for you guys again?
Adrian. Oh God, sorry, it's all going wrong here. Adrian's going to be in goal for us. Kelleher's injured. Alisson's not ready this week. We'll be ready for Fulham. So it's not the biggest of deals, but we're not fully prepared for this match, which is a shame because I'd like us to have been able to have a full team out there. But ultimately, as long as Adrian doesn't cause the problem, then we should be, we should technically still be able to compete in this match. And I'm confident. I'm fairly confident it's going to be a competitive game. It's not going to be a game filled with like youth players and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on your guys' lineup? Because I don't know what issues that City are going to have. Liverpool's are pretty straightforward.
The only issue we have, I think, is Laporte. He's going through surgery or something because Laporte last season was injured, but since he was the last centre back, he said he will continue playing, and he was playing under like heavy painkillers, which is not advisable because at the end, this is what happens to you when you're done. That's why I think City hold on to Ake, even though Chelsea were twerking for Ake. They've twerked for everybody this season, and it looks like Barcelona have pimp slapped them to every signing. But anyway, what can I say? I think Pep has got the selection. He can select whoever. It's either going to be Stones or Diaz if he wants. But Stones was actually with the under-23s because he didn't get his vaccine. I don't know if he was vaccinated or not. So he went with the under-23s. Excuse me, Foden and Gundogan, the same thing. Gundogan had one vaccination. Apparently in Germany, that's okay. But in America, it's not okay for you to have one vaccination. So Foden was not vaccinated. They all went with the under-23. So I don't know if those guys are going to play. I'm thinking, is he going to put them in just for the sake that they were not there in preseason, though, with the under-23? It's very confusing. But for me, if you were to give it to me, I think on the keeper side, he's going to have Ortega. He was already hyping him in the press, saying Ortega has impressed us with his footwork. He impressed us with his footwork, the way he decides to pass the ball. I think he's trying to say Stefan was not that great with his foot. At least I have found another keeper who can compete with Edison, because Ortega is a very good shot stopper, and you could tell from the preseason that he's not as great with the feet, but at least he makes good decisions. Because when you're a keeper who plays with the ball to feet, you have to make a decision before somebody attacks you. Stefan used to make the decision when somebody is there. So anyway,
that's actually true.
I don't think Edison's ever made a save, actually, to be honest. I can't say I've seen one.
I haven't seen one.
Edison has made saves. It's just that
it's a myth.
Yeah, last season
Very
was
rare.
bad. Let's say last season was bad. The stats, like they were showing the stats since he came to City, last season was bad. He was even not making stops of shots that he's expecting to shot. Like his demeanor was different last season. He just had this face like, I'm tired. You know what I mean? I'm bored. I'm tired. Nothing. At least that other season when he won the Golden Boot, he had few saves where you're like, wow, he saved us. This season, he was just like, I don't know. I don't blame him though. A team where you don't touch the ball for so long, like keeper like Edison, but Ortega seems to be the guy who's going to push him, because I think a keeper needs somebody to push him the same way as Addison. I think Adrian being the guy pushing him made him a bit weaker, but now I think he knows the Irish kid is very good and he's going to push him over. I think keepers need people like that. They don't need somebody who they can look at and say, you know what, I can go drinking and come back from the pub and I'll still be first choice and you won't do anything. So Ortega, I think, is going to be the keeper, and I think the centre backs will be Ake and Diaz, and then I don't know who the four backs will be. I would go for Cancelo and Esbrand. I know Esbrand is just a kid from the academy, but right now we're starving for left backs, and he's been the best thing from the preseason. I would like him. I would personally call Klopp and say, put Salah on this kid, so Salah can be the one who baptizes this kid. I just want to see that. So that's my bag, but I don't know if you want me to bring up the whole team or you just wanted me to talk about injuries and stuff.
No, we'll get into like the actual way we think the match will play out. But you guys remember that this is the worst part of United season last season. I think it was the first game at home. I think that was the first leg against City last season where we lost like 1-0 or 2-0. And there's that image. There's a picture of Ederson sitting on the halfway line picking apart grass. He's literally, but I'm not talking like he's like standing there. He's sitting cross-legged picking apart grass. They have like 85% possession against us, and I was like, dude, this is the worst. And then just on like the Stefan thing, I remember plenty of times. There was one, I think it was back-to-back games or really close succession, where Ederson does something. He takes the ball, and he like the forward is like 2 feet away from him, but he makes a pass. And then 2 games later, Zach Steffen does the exact same thing and just gets tackled and they just score like off it. It's like the difference in quality on the ball is the only thing Pep Guardiola worries about. Shot stopping is definitely second to that. And also,
No, 100%.
I think also Cucurella is trying to get out of Brighton. He's like a prisoner at this moment in time. He's trying to do everything he can to get out of that.
Can I say something on Brighton though? Because Brighton came out days ago and said, our business here is we go and get talent that big teams have missed out. But what we do is we understand we're a selling club. So when we get you and there's an opportunity for you to move to a big club, we allow you to go. This is what they said 4 days ago. And now that's what makes me laugh. They say that, and this was the sports director live on their own channel. This was their own channel. He's like, that's our business here. We go get this talent that big teams can't. Then we are so proud that after these guys are picked by big teams, we won't stand in your way. So I was just thinking about it. So now they're standing in the way of Cucurella. I get it. They want 50 million. It's that player. I have been supporting the 50 million. That look, his 5 years contract. He's just into the 4th. It's not even yet. It's just 4 years. And I was like, but if they have that promise, and apparently they agreed with him when all these rumors started that 35 million is good enough for you to go, but somehow Brighton looked at City's business and say no. 50.
Well, they're every right to. I mean, at the end of the day, Cucurella's numbers, people are trying to compare him up there with Andy Robertson and some of the best left backs in the league. Well, I mean, if that's the numbers that he's putting up there, well, 50 million's the right price. And because Brighton's already sold Basuma for a knockdown price, we always know this. It's a multiplier with Brighton. Once they sell one, the next one gets more expensive. And then they sell that one, the next one gets more expensive. So if someone came in from Mopai, say, for example, his price would be through the roof. Like, genuinely, because they can't just go out there and kind of just pick up another talent to replace him of the same standard. They have to be clever. They do what Liverpool do, but on a budget, on like a proper budget where they don't even have the same level of pull. So when Liverpool come knocking, then it's hard to say no. But if Brighton come knocking, there's a lot more convincing to be done. Like, do you fancy coming to the Premier League? Yeah, that's a bonus. Do you fancy playing mid-table Premier League where we're probably not going to win every game? There's no real chance of Europe. And it's going to be tough. There's going to be games where we're not going to win. There might be 4 or 5 games we don't win. So I don't see an issue here. Cucurella wants a move. Of course he does. It's guaranteed medals going to Manchester City. Guaranteed a good chance of winning the Champions League, guaranteed a good chance of winning the Premier League, League Cup and FA Cup. They're in all those trophies. But at the same time, everyone knows that Manchester City has made a profit this year when it comes to spending money, and Brighton know it as well as everybody else. So they're going to sit there and go, my player's under contract, you have money, there's the price, pay.
And then they're willing.
That transfer request is going to do, though. Sorry. Well, that transfer request, what is it going to do, though? Because I was speaking to somebody, I was like, somebody told me, some expert just told me, some guy is like, the only thing about the transfer request is the player is willing to lose his bonuses and his sign-on fees and everything. So that's how it brings it down a bit. But knowing Brighton, I bet it will go down by 2 million. Knowing them,
not going to be loads, is it?
48.
No.
They'll be like 48. They'll be like 48. I don't know. It's funny though.
And bro, Patrick, at the end of the day, it's not like Brighton is still saying that we don't want to sell the player. We will sell the player without a problem. That's all good. But it's 50 million basically. That's it.
I think there's a massive issue as well, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, Patrick. But I think even just holding on to Zinchenko, just so you have that as partnership. I know that you guys have a good relationship with Arteta and therefore Arsenal, so he's probably like, "Hey, I need this player across the line." But just having that player
development
there, yeah, because it just kind of means, in a way, they know it's Cancelo or bust. I mean, you guys can play Ake at left back, but that's not actually a real solution. So I wonder if just holding on to Zinchenko just a little bit longer, just as to not give Brian a free run, because now they know, well, they can hold out for 40, 50 million if they want.
Because you're right, JC. You're right. Because do you know what I thought? I thought as soon as we saw, look, when we sold Raheem, because there's still Raheem money. Let's not forget, Raheem's money hasn't gone anywhere. Because if you calculate every amount, because we've been calculating amounts, right? As City fans of all the players are selling, and then the Haaland money has already been taken that side. We know where it came from. Then the Phillips money is as soon as they sold it's Jesus, right? Phillips, same amount, similar amounts. Phillips was picked up, and Raheem money is still there, and then Zinchenko money. So what I thought at first was, I thought Zinchenko was still staying regardless. Then I thought the Raheem money will go towards Cucurella. So we will do the 45 million from Raheem will go to Cucurella, and I didn't know that. Okay, so there's Raheem money and Zinchenko money. I thought as soon as we saw Zinchenko done, I thought that's it. I said Cucurella is coming, because I thought that if we have the guts to say Zinchenko, you can go, that means we must see positivity the other side. Guess what City did? They just sold Zinchenko. They took the 2 million away. Remember those 32 million?
Yeah.
Away, took 30 and say Brighton, here's 30. In all fairness, if you're talking about realism and you're not talking about stealing from each other, that 30 is good, because Brighton got him for 12 million plus add-ons, which is 15. So they called him for 15. They've doubled their money. But Brighton sat there and said, you just got 45 million for Raheem.
Yep.
Jesus money went to Phillips, and you just sold the academy kids, and you sold Polo to Port Sporting. You sold so and so to 20 million to Villarreal. So you have so much money. As Dan said, our money has been out there. The reports have been, Sky has already put City have made profit. I think Brighton are looking and saying, you know what? We could have given you Cucurella for 30, 35, but
now we are not going to do that, isn't it? And what about this Bernardo Silva situation? I don't think it's happening. I mean, I don't see a world where Barcelona are spending 80 million to sign Bernardo Silva.
It's a lie. I think it's a lie. I think it's just like, I think I could see it maybe if he continues pushing next season. But a big deal. Bernardo is a big deal.
Very expensive.
Happening when, if within 1 week the league is starting, City will be stupid to say, Bernardo, you go. I think that's what happened. I think it's just a lie. And the president for Barcelona just said to somebody,
Laputa.
Yeah, he said Bernardo is a City player. I respect City. I've got friends there. I don't want to talk about Bernardo.
They don't respect Chelsea, though, do they?
That guy will say whatever he feels like and goes
One,
and does
one,
the
one,
exact
one
opposite.
week, 1 week, and you sell Bernardo. I'll start looking at our board and thinking that
Bro,
they're not very well.
If you sell Bernardo, I will be a happy person. Very happy.
I do think that's a transfer that has to happen at the beginning of the summer, just because of the scale of it, and also the fact that we know Bernardo wanted to go last summer and to Barcelona. It just seems unrealistic to me at this time, and I think it does. You can look at it whatever way you want. Some people are talking about that deal like forces Frankie out the door. I think Frankie's out the door anyways, but some people say, well, that deal forces Frankie out, whereas the other side say that Frankie, that's the deal that happens if Frankie goes. Like, none of it really makes sense, and I do just think it's one of those deals that has to happen at the beginning of the summer, not this close to the season. So
I don't see it happening at all. I don't see it in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, so my score prediction, I think it'll be a close. I think it's going to be 1-0, 1-1, 2-1 either way. I don't think there's going to be too much, to be honest. I just think it's going to be an interesting match. I'm not going to lose any sleep over whatever happens. I think we'll look good. Our players are just getting plenty of rest, getting built up, and to see what happens. For me, to see what happens. So yeah, close one.
Bro, like, I've seen enough of fucking Barcelona this season just to say, as soon as something from them just pops up, they are onto something, bro. Those fucking bastards. I'll tell you that.
What's your score prediction then?
1-0. 1-0 City, by the way.
Yep. How about you, Pat?
I doubt City and Liverpool would go 1-0 without the other one pushing. Because these two teams, as soon as one scores, the other one doesn't want to let go. I'm so happy that it's not Alisson, because the matches we played against Liverpool, Alisson has saved them a lot. I remember even the FA Cup, the second half, we could have scored 4 goals, but Alisson came 1v1, and I don't know, he's just amazing. You can't score. I don't think Adrian has got that juice. So, go ahead.
And that's the reason why I said 1-0 to City. It's because Alisson is not there. That's the only reason.
That's my excuse anyway.
But you know what? I know Konate, who's so tall and the cheat code, he doesn't even have to jump. That City defense would be Nathan Ake. He doesn't even have to jump. Like the last goal he scored against City, he didn't even jump. He just stood there and that's it. So Ortega is going to have to show us why he was being rated as the best second keeper in Bundesliga. We're going to have to see if he does his fast saves. For me, my prediction, I'm going to stick to the prediction I've been going on. I'm looking at 3-1.
Holy crap.
To City, I assume?
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
I mean, I see it.
Heartbreak for little Liverpudlians all over the world.
I just see that Adrian, if he has a good, unless he has a good game,
hey,
I know. Yeah.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time since you beat us with fans in the stadium and all that kind of thing. So I'm not convinced. I think it'd be close, but if you score 3 against us, I'll be in hiding.
I'm still sticking to 1-0, but I can see a bad score as well because of the number of players that Liverpool do have out as well, like some of their first team players that are
but
out.
They have their defense, don't they? They
do have their defense. They do still have their defense. I could see a 1-0 going either way as well, but I just think that's the reason. Like, I just think one cross towards Haaland and he has it on target in a place where it's reasonably easy to save or whatever it is, Adrian is going to fuck it up.
I don't think Pep or Klopp are going to make a big deal over Nunez or Haaland in this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Alvarez. It's going to be Alvarez. I think it's going to be Alvarez.
I think it's going to be Firmino. I think it'll be Bobby Firmino, and maybe Nunez might come on for a little bit.
Are you not playing another game the next day? You're playing another friendly.
Yeah, but I'm going to that game. It's Strasbourg on Sunday, so it's going to be kind of whoever doesn't play on Saturday. and then kind of maybe a couple of people who played like a substitute appearance, maybe for it. So it's one of those. I think it kind of shows from Liverpool their kind of view on this game. You know, even from from a business point of view, that they're still happy to run a game at Anfield so that they can make money from it. You know, kind of literally the next day. That's kind of their view at the moment from the club.
Just a question then. I've seen so many reports coming out saying that Juventus are looking to purchase Bobby Firmino. Is there any truth to it, or
no,
not this time of the season. Not this time of the season. You can't be.
I don't think so as well.
No, I mean the offer that was put on the table was apparently £19 million, which you're not getting Roberto Firmino for 19 million quid out of Liverpool.
Right. Even so, they did bid.
Yeah,
so they
apparently
did bid
so.
for the play. Yeah.
Well, that was Italian media. There was no reports from Liverpool's side, whether that was because they didn't want them to report it or whether the fact is that they didn't want to put any kind of fuel on this fire. As I say, Roberto Firmino doesn't live far away from where I live, and from what I know he is incredibly well settled within Merseyside. He has a very good network as it stands now. His kids are in school in Crosby.
Was that a threat? Was that a threat, Dan? Making sure Firmino watches this and says, "I know it."
Man, don't you dare move! But
I know where you live, Bobby. I know where you live, baby. No, listen. Liverpool are very good at this because it's no surprise that they've built this culture. Do you know, from to make a comfortable community family together. You've got all the Brazilian, South American players who are all going to be very closely linked. I mean, ultimately, they baptise each other and all sorts of stuff, barbecues, the whole 9 yards at Liverpool. So for me, Firmino's incredibly happy where he is. I think he's quite happy to play whatever role needs to be played, and I don't think he's going to uplift his family and his kids to go to Italy for a couple of seasons and end his career at Juventus playing second fiddle. More than likely there because he can play second fiddle at Liverpool.
Yeah, just kind of
he's a striker at Juventus, isn't it?
But real quick, that's what I was gonna key into was they're after Morata. So there have been some wild rumors. There's been the Firmino one, Tony Martial's been another one. They're just kind of getting links out, and Italian media is like Portuguese media, where unless it hits the British press, don't believe anything you hear out of it.
Right.
There's always some agenda. It's always an agent speaking, to some club, and
it's nonsense.
I
never gave any credence to it before. When I was asked in a space when I was in with Patrick, he'd asked me about it when it came up a week or so ago, and I just don't ever see it happening. And Roberto Firmino will leave this club more than likely. As in end his career or go back to, say, Brazil or something like that. I don't ever see him playing big football anywhere else. He may even sign like a short extension on lower terms, like to reflect his position within the club like James Milner has. I genuinely feel he's so well integrated in Liverpool that he's happy just to kind of do what's required of him. So, I don't see anything like that.
Understood.
What's the point keeping the transfer window open? Well, if obviously the football's not started, if Erling Haaland unfortunately has a bit of a mishap, it gives Man City an opportunity, or if Liverpool have an injury, it's exactly what it's for. It's there to allow for what will unfortunately occur to some clubs within football in the next couple of weeks. A player will have either a long-term or season-ending injury, which means that they have an opportunity to replace that player. It's just sort of to allow for that to happen.
I don't like that though, because right now, as even speaking of, I know that I have a feeling that what if right now, even I'm feeling let's say this whole Kukurea thing, Brighton starts the season off, then boom, City we start the season where Corky saying, "F you, we're not paying that 50. We let go," and then things go bad. Let's say Cancelo gets injured, then all of a sudden, Brighton, how are you doing? Here's your 50. And Brighton, obviously, whether they're stubborn or not, I think 50 is enough to say,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And then
50 does it. 50
then
does
it affects the other teams' left back area. You know what I mean? They also have to, maybe they also look to the Championship and go convince some guy from the champ. And I know someone from the Championship want delay to move up. Because imagine you're a Championship player and you're called by Brighton saying, "Oh, we need you to the Prem. you're not saying no. You're
No,
dumping.
you've gone. See you later.
It's going to be a bad effect. I think it's going to be a very bad effect.
And that's what I was thinking as well. Like, for an example, the transfer market will still be open till like a few more weeks, isn't it? So
yeah, a few more.
Last day
if
of
you
August.
and if Juventus puts up the money for Firmino, let's say if Barcelona puts up the money for Bernardo Silva, if you never know what might happen.
Look, the Firmino one's dead. Liverpool have already said they're not selling him. It's as simple as that. It's done.
But this is absolutely, Anthony hits on the point. This is the worst. You guys remember 2 seasons ago when the Prem said we're no longer allowing transfers in before the start of the season. So it's like the day the season starts, that's it. But then all of Europe kept their market open. They said, no, that's stupid. We're going to keep it open until September the 1st. And so you had teams. I mean, English clubs literally screwed themselves over because they could still get a Juventus coming in being like, yeah, I'll take Bobby for 30 million. Let's just say, and let's pretend that appealed to him, and he's out of your club, and then you could not transfer anyone in. It was it was just such a mishap. It was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen English football do.
But at the end of the day, I just believe any player is up for sale, no matter what it is. It's just if Juventus comes in and puts the money down. It depends on some
clubs, man. It depends on some clubs. Some clubs will tell you to piss off. I'm pretty sure you would never go to PSG. Like, you see how PSG were so ballsy with Mbappe. How much did they refuse? 170. Who would refuse 107? They said no, and it went to 180. They still said no.
No, but then the part that you don't understand is PSG had to keep Mbappe. It's not only PSG who wanted to keep Mbappe. France football had to keep Mbappe. Mbappe actually received a phone call from the president of France asking him to stay at PSG.
Yeah,
so there is a lot more to it with regards to it than the Mbappe deal. However, if somebody comes in and puts 80 million in front of Manchester City for Bernardo Silva, do you really think that Manchester City is going to say no?
We've said no before to Sané trying to get out before
80 million.
100 million came in for Sané, and we played him against Liverpool and got him injured. And
I remember that. I was at the game.
Okay, this is what I'm trying to say, right? I think Klopp and Pep are sort of different managers. Unless you give them a replacement, or Klopp and Pep say, I'm comfortable with the squad. I think some of the teams during the season, you come and pick up somebody who is going to be key for your season. And okay, for instance, why would I give away Bernardo Silva? Who's going to replace him within the season?
No, but that's my question. That's the problem, isn't it? Like, sometimes you're in a catch-22. 80 million is not small money. When you see the money right in front of you, it's difficult to say no as well.
We're all FC, right? We're all FC.
Yeah, bro.
Money's no object down there. They just make it up as they go along over a city.
Okay, all I'm saying is I think for small clubs, but for big clubs, I think if the games start and you're looking at especially City and Liverpool, they don't want to weaken themselves again.
No, I understand.
I think what they've given out is what they can afford to give out. I think if they wanted Bobby out, Bobby could have been out at the beginning of the season, and then
I understand that as well. But if for an example, let's say how much do you think Bobby would be worth then? For an example,
it's whatever a club's willing to pay and what Liverpool's willing to sell. Like he's got 1 year left on his deal. Liverpool have got a decision to make, haven't they?
On the market, he's 28. When you go to the market officially,
right?
So for Liverpool to ever consider selling Roberto Firmino as to what he brings to Liverpool, he is 35 to 40 million at the very least.
That's what I was thinking as well. Let's say 35 million for the sake of argument. That's where Liverpool value him at. Let's say Juventus come in tomorrow and say, right, here's 45 million for Bobby Firmino.
Then Liverpool have to find a replacement.
Yeah, would Liverpool not sell him then?
If they found a replacement, yes. If they had someone that they believe they could get, but as they've shown when it comes to buying players, they will wait for the right player. So if there's no one to replace that player, As in, who is like, we're linked with Mateus Nunes, who's been linked with everybody. He's been linked with Chelsea.
I think so as well. All over the place.
Yeah, because his agent wants him out of the club. His players asked his agent to try and get him out of the club to go somewhere else because he's seen a number of other players leaving the Portuguese league for the Premier League, and he's thought, well, I fancy a bit of that. So really, when it comes to Liverpool, you've got fans who support the idea of bring anyone in. They're addicted to this new signing, kind of, give me a new signing because I need that. But we look at clubs, Chelsea being one of them, Man United being another one, who have signed lots of players that don't work. They're a waste of money. You get excited about them, and then you find you end up finding that you're just making excuses for them. Oh, well, it's his first season. Oh, well, he's not played in the right position. Oh, well, over and over again. For me, I'd rather not have that player, keep a player at the club, and then buy the right one the next season. It's just it's the way I see it. Man City wanted Haaland. They waited. They patiently waited. They could have gone out and bought a different number 9. Could have got Harry Kane last season. No issues at all. They could have paid the money.
People are giving us Danny Ings. People are saying, go get Danny Ings for now.
Well, of course. But you laugh about it. But the thing is, it's like, obviously Manchester City bought Haaland, and that's like pressing the nuclear button. They bought the most powerful, most prospective young number 9 in world football as it stands right now, with all the potential of being, an absolute record breaker if he carries on as he is. But I always thought this is like, sometimes you don't need to hit the nut with a sledgehammer to break what you need. If you only need 10 goals to be the difference between winning the title or winning the Champions League, you don't need a 40 goal a season striker. You need someone who can score 15. And Ivan Toney would score you 15 goals at Manchester City.
Danny Ings
he's not exciting.
On a good day, Danny Ings will score you good goals.
He's not exciting. He's not like, oh my God, that's, want his name on the back and, oh yeah, I want to get excited. But it's like a case of Liverpool bought Diogo Jota. No one got excited about Diogo Jota, but everyone's excited about the fact he scores loads of goals.
Correct. I understand that.
What I mean?
I'm just thinking to myself, if somebody puts the money on the table, that just changes everything, to be honest.
Yeah, of course, but we're going to have to move on with it. City for far too long. Right, Chelsea, how did they get on today, Anthony? What did you make of them?
Improved. That's all I could say. It's still preseason at the end of the day. Like, you must have seen it on Twitter and everything. It's like the whole world ended after we lost to Arsenal. I just didn't see it. I just didn't see it that way, to be fair. I just thought to myself, it is still preseason. We are seriously undercooked. We weren't ready to start the season at that state. No way were we ready. I was talking with Jesse. I was talking with Twisted and the others as well when I was saying this. You still haven't seen the first team play. This is the first time we've seen the first team play. And so many other things that, even today, Ben Chilwell still didn't play as well. So it's not the first team, to be honest.
Who's the striker?
It's still the front. It's basically a front 3 that rotates in that position.
I heard that Raheem missed the 1v1 again.
He didn't miss it, basically.
Get used to it. I love You've got two fans who've had Raheem Sterling. Get used to it.
But he did score as well at the end of the day.
Yeah, I heard it just got off his leg. It just hit him and went in.
No, he could have done better. I agree. Like I was telling Jesse as well, he could have done better. But he did score. But for me, that's fine. At least if it was Timo Werner in that position, he'll have 3 chances. No. He'll miss all 3.
Me and Dan are warning you. I'm telling you, Anthony, don't put your eggs on Raheem as the guy who save you guys.
Man City legend. City legend. I came off his shin. Yeah. Missed that chance, didn't he?
He did score a goal, but he was 1-on-1 with the keeper. He had the whole goal to hit, and he kicked it into the keeper. It bounced off of the keeper, hit his knee, and bounced over.
Bloody hell!
No, I'm iffy to that. Come on, then.
No. It's a goal that he should have scored, but in a different way. I'll say that. Not that way.
Fair enough.
Just wait. Just wait. He goes through on goal, and all the defenders are behind him, and he's 1v1 with the keeper. The keeper falls on the floor. He dribbles this side, kicks it and still misses.
But this is the problem, bro. What you don't understand is if Raheem gets 3 or 4 of those types of chances, he'll at least score one. However,
No, he won't.
all our attackers, you give them all 4 of those chances, they score none.
Antonio, did you watch Man City versus United, where we were winning against United and Raheem was played as a false 9, right? United, if we won that game, we were lifting the trophy. That's the game where Pogba and then came back. But Man City were winning 2-0, right? And all Raheem had to do is finish 2 1v1s. And the first 1v1 was exactly as the second one. Guess what he did? He still wanted to dink it over the gear twice, doing the same mistake. What sort of player does that? If I'm a player, right, the first one I tried to dink the gear, why don't I try go off like?
No, I understand, bro. I'm not saying.
You know what, Timo Werner is good. You guys keep sleeping on him. I think it's a coaching.
Timo Werner is getting sold, bro.
Wow.
Timo Werner should have come to Liverpool and he'd have had a decent career.
Yeah,
he's getting sold. And this, like, my analysis of the game, basically, I just wanted a better performance, and I seen a better performance, a little bit more cohesive, and that's it. And I mean, we got to see how much we actually missed N'Golo Conte.
Big time.
My God, he was today.
What's like, okay, so this is what I was having a chat with Ant about while we were watching the game. Is the fact is what Tuchel was doing was trying to make some adjustments and trying to play Jorginho with Gallagher, and even I guess it works with Kovacic, to be fair.
Yeah,
but the problem is you can't play Gallagher, who is a forward-thinking player, solely a forward-thinking player.
Correct.
In a midfield too, it just doesn't work.
Is he going to take penalties?
No, I don't think so. Fucking hell.
Jorginho might be their top goal scorer this season. We'll have to see. But like on a really real note, they looked a lot better. They were a lot more cohesive.
Yeah.
Sterling was running at players. He was a threat. He was drawing people away. Havertz is not going to do the job for you guys this season at all.
No,
he's just not. He's just not that. Even the things that I normally would say, this is Havertz's position. He's not one-on-one, but he's there on one of the defenders, and all he needs to do is square it. I would assume Havertz would square it, but he had a couple of those really poor decisions today.
Oh, that was Mount, by the way.
No, that was one. Mount had one, and then Kai had one where he should have scored.
Ah, yes, correct. Yeah.
No, so you guys don't look sharp, but you guys look more cohesive. I think you guys are 1 or 2 more games away from being at the level that you guys want to at least be at the start of the season. I think you guys might go into the season against Everton, get a result because Everton are shite. And then you guys might just
not against Chelsea, they're not.
No, they fucking turned into prime Barcelona against Chelsea.
No, you guys. I just wanted to, because I mean, there's only so much better you can go on. You guys did look a lot better today. A lot better.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean. Like, I just wanted a performance that actually meant something towards the season, just to at least show that we are ready for the Everton game. I didn't really care about that result against Arsenal. I just thought, yep, it's just proved to me that we were not ready. And yeah, 100%. How could we be ready? We just signed a replacement 5 days ago for Rudiger, and we just got Sterling in 2 weeks ago. And that guy just came down from a holiday. Is he going to be fit enough? Whereas Arsenal was like 4 or 5 games into their preseason, which was our 3rd game as well. And still, we do see that lack of fitness in the team. Then we are still undercooked. But I think, the team also do need to start playing together. Whereas, like, for an example, if it was between, it's basically, let's say, Sterling, Havertz, and Mount, who wants to play, they need to play more games in order to get that understanding as well. Like, they haven't played, like Koulibaly and Thiago Silva. This is the first game they played together. But in saying all of that, we do need 1 more attacker and 1 more defender.
You need a lot more than that, but yeah.
I mean, for now, we need 1 more attacker and 1 more defender.
I think getting one more defender, a striker, because I don't think Broha's going to play nearly enough this season, and I don't think Kai Havertz is a solution. And then a right winger of some kind.
And as I said, bro, Kai needs to perform this season, and that's it. There is no excuses.
I mean, that's another conversation, isn't it, altogether, to be honest with Kai Havertz. I mean, I'm not convinced at all. I know Chelsea fans love him, but I don't think he's anywhere near what you paid for him and what he was capable of doing, whether or not this league's the right one for him or not. But yeah, we'll just look over the final score, and then we need to just cover Man United before we get finished.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, you can kind of go through this, Anthony, but I mean, this is the game that we saw. I will say Udinese gave you guys quite a bit of space. I'll be interested to see how you guys do against low blocks, because you're just going to beat mostly low blocks. But you guys look good. You guys found space. Conte was definitely your man of the match. I think you'll agree.
Oh, yes, 100%. Yeah. Like, basically, it's a Conte we haven't seen for over 400 days, basically.
There you go. That's
It's like a complete new player for us for this season, because he hasn't been at that level. And a lot of people thought that Conte didn't travel to the US because he was injured, and everybody was putting it out, oh, he's turned injury prone. No, he didn't travel to the US because of vaccination issues. Like, he didn't get vaccinated, so he didn't travel. That's it. But he still stayed at Cobham. He trained well. He played with the under-23s. He played his preseason games. He looked fit. And also Koulibaly looks okay at the back as well. He looks quite good. He seems to be a good buy as well.
Yeah, that's what I said. That De Ligt thing, just before we move on to United, that De Ligt signing, I was saying, Koulibaly, are you kidding me? Like, Koulibaly all day long. I know he's older, but they're class permanent, man. So he's by far was the better option.
Thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly, for twice the money as well, or half the money, you could say.
Not even half. 80 million to 30 million. Bloody hell. Massive difference.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just go ahead and take the reins on this one. I guess Dan had to hop off. Sir Alex Ferguson is back on the board at Manchester United after club's chief executive Richard Arnold turned to the legendary Old Trafford boss for advice. I also think this includes David Gill and someone else I'm not thinking of. This is an interesting one. And this is one that will give lots of United fans PTSD, because every time we see Sir Alex show up at Carrington, we have a mental breakdown, because it usually means he's going to back the Glazers in some way or try to keep Ollie in a job. That's really the one that gets to us. So it will be interesting to see how this works out. The fact that Sir Alex is back on, basically going to be some form. So it's not back on the board. Actually, I read that wrong. Back on board with a couple of the other old guard. It concerns me for obvious reasons. I don't need more of the old influence trying to keep the kind of like old regime the old way at United. Mm-hmm. But if it does mean that there are more footballing people kind of at board level as people who actually have the ear of the board, then I don't necessarily see that as a massive issue. I know that Richard Arnold is the one who instigated this, so it will be interesting to see how this works out in the end. But I also totally understand people's fears that...
Cheers, Pat. Thank you, mate.
It's more of the same. Yeah, later, Pat. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Because I from as a rival perspective, you guys are going to have the same concerns I do. So
it's one of those. It can only go two. I mean, for me, I only see it going two ways. It's either it's effective because of all of the good stuff. He's Ferguson, and all that good stuff. We can go on and hark back to the good old days and whatnot, kind of thing. But then at the same time, it could just have no effect in the slightest, and just becomes a bit of a distraction for the fans. It's just like, oh, well, Fergie's back in town, and everything's kind of a bit of like, oh, well, this is great. We've got the right people involved. I mean, ultimately, it depends on what role he can actually bring, how his influence is used. Is it going to be listened to properly? Is if he does mention like these are the things that we should be doing, is it going to be done? So I think it's going to be on the club. I think Fergie's, at the end of the day, Manchester United are going to be close to his heart. So he'll only ever do what he thinks best for the club, but it's going to be based on the club putting in his words into action, and only the board and Ferguson will know how that actually works out. To be honest, no one will know.
I also don't want it undermining people like Ten Hag.
I have a different view to all of this, to be honest. I just think that these guys, Richard Arnold and who is this Murtaugh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they've gotten a lot of the decisions right this time round. I just have that feeling like the appointment of Ten Hag, whether how it became the appointment of Ten Hag or whatnot, it still is a good decision that was done. The backroom stuff and all these other things that happen, another good decision. Getting whether listening to Ten Hag and getting that guy Ubowe or somebody to do all of those things, another good decision. um, I think if Richard Arnold made this decision of getting Sir Alex, like even though he was in the board, but into a more prominent position in the board, I, I- it's just me looking at it from the outside. But I think it might be a good decision because he hasn't given me a, a, a situation to think anything otherwise as well. Like thinking, yep, this might be another good decision made by him. And that's just me looking at it from the outside, to be honest.
I think we need, like, the strategy still needs to change. I think they've been naive this summer, going for big targets first and not taking care of. I mean, if we had gone for Timber and immediately the moment Timber said, no, I'm not coming, gone for Martinez, we would have gone him for much cheaper. Anthony would have been a real possibility if this was a month and a half ago. Going through everything, I think a lot of United fans will get angry at this, and they're just going to have to suck it up, because the fact is they are going, well, Ten Hag needs to have a plan B. It's unacceptable. If Frankie de Jong doesn't come, he needs to have a plan B. Fact is, what if his plan B just isn't what the plan B you want to hear, which is, I'm just going to use Fred in that position because I don't think Neves or Tielemans can do as good of a job in that position as Fred. And
exactly right.
Spend the money elsewhere.
Like, I agree.
I think it's mostly just United fans going, well, there's no plan B. Well, I know what's best for the club. It's like, you don't know about football. Like, none of us do compared to these guys. So why are we actually trying to tell them what's good or what's not? But I do think the restructuring, like you said, Ann, is good. And like Dan was saying, it can go either way. It can go one of the two ways. And I think at the end of the day, having him closer to the board is good. By the way, just real quick, Ann, he was in an ambassador role. So the only thing he ever did for the club was the occasional pep talk, or when you have like the FIFA club commission needs a representative from United, we would send Sir Alex, which is it's just an absolutely nothing role. It's basically you go there, shake hands with Wenger.
But Jesse, but Jesse, like, this is what I see. Like, yes, but this is a major restructuring or a major shock towards the club from the way it has been operating. And for me, there will be teething issues and there will be instances where business might be done a little bit later than it was supposed to. But that's those things that you mentioned earlier, where, if as soon as the Timber deal was falling through, going for Martinez, going for things, those things would happen once everything else works out well. Maybe in a year, maybe next year, you'll see that change happening a lot more quicker. And that's where I see, those are teething issues where they're trying to sort these things out and, get things up and running and so on and so forth. And this fills me with a lot of optimism towards Manchester United. See, I am a rival. I am supposed to not praise Manchester United or Liverpool or Manchester City or Tottenham or Arsenal. But before that, bro, I am a straight shooter, and you guys know this about me. If something is good, I say it's good, and I see this as good. I see a lot of the things that happens at Manchester United this time round is good. It's the same way I praise Liverpool. The way they run the club, absolutely amazing. But they just didn't get there in one day,
Yeah.
It's the same thing that I think about United right now. The decisions that they're taking and the way they're approaching the market and the way things are happening, I really like it. For an example, just look at the kid that they are trying to sign from Salzburg, Sosco or Cisco or something. Would you have imagined Manchester United doing business like that before?
Well, this is the funny thing is that every single one of our targets who are out of the Ten Hag list are Rangnick ideas. So none of it are previous scouting departments. Rangnick basically added to the list Nunez, potentially this Sheshko kid, in Cuckoo. Like the only players that Ten Hag realistically would have been like, yeah, I'll have those. The rest were like Pau Torres, and he's like, no. Why would I want him? They're going Sangare, and he's going, dude. I just played against him for like 3 seasons. No, I don't want to. Like, he's a good player. I'm sure he said, oh yeah, no, I admire the player, but I don't want him in my system.
Yeah, it might not work in my system, but this is a change. This is a change that we haven't seen with regards to United, and I rate it, bro. I rate it, and I really like to see, because I like to see clubs being run well. I like to see things happen in the right way for clubs. It's just like, at the end of the day, I see more positives than negatives, and I will say that about any club. Even with Arsenal, I'm supposed to hate them, but I will say this: they look more ready to be in the top 4 this season than Chelsea. And there's nothing wrong in saying something good about a club. If they're ready, they're ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just to go ahead and before Dan probably puts in finishing thoughts, so we can go ahead and close up. Fergie appointed Ollie and CR7. He appointed neither. What he did was had a massive pull. CR7 was appointed by Ed Woodward, and Ollie was also appointed by Ed Woodward.
That's the best decision that United took. Getting that guy Woodward out was the first of many correct decisions, and that decision had to be made in order to do this. And I rate that. If United needs to become the superpower that they once were, they need to get rid of that fucking banker. He's not a banker, he's a wanker. That's all I have to say.
No, definitely. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting with Ferguson coming in. It's going to be interesting to see how much influence he has on the club. We all know, going back to Hark and the whole days, it can have negative points where, it's a little bit like having the old boss round. It's like, they've retired now, but they're still here. You still got to got to be careful what you say around him, because he was the gaffer at one point. So we'll see how it works. Ten Hag is a man on a mission. He seems to have his own targets and the people that he wants. He's not going to settle for second choice players, because there's no point. If you sign Neves, you're signing him for 5 years. And if he's not the right player, it means you're stuck with the wrong player for 5 years, potentially 4 or 5 years. So it's find the right ones at the right times, not, just going and, we need a new signing. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, boys, thank you very much. Obviously, we all jumping on the stream. It's been a good one today. We had a good chat. Patrick coming in, Twisted in the comments. Anyone else who's come across. If you like what you've seen, put a like on for us. We'd really, really appreciate it. If you can subscribe, we're putting out content all the time. Really trying to build towards 500 subs, and then on the road to 1,000 eventually. So please help us get there. Try and get in early if you can. So listen, everyone, thank you very, very much. Yeah, Patrick's channel is in the title. Go and check him out if you're a City fan, or even if you're just a fan of football. Jump on over there and just get a view of Manchester City view on things. It's well worth looking into. But listen,
one of
boys,
the first guys who talked about Manchester City, and one of the original fans of Manchester City before they had money as well, by the way.
This is it. This is the thing. He's one of the rare ones. So listen, boys, thank you very much. So everyone, until next time, we've been Talk Football. We'll see you later. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.